everyone. My name is Bradley Lackey. I attend Eastern Kentucky University, and I'm a biomedical sciences major. And I am also a DEIB intern for National ALD.
So we wanted to start off by explaining, we know that many organizations only use DEI. They use diversity, equity, and inclusion, and ALD has decided to include belonging. We wanted to explain that it's, of course, important to include diversity, equity, and inclusion in your chapter, but belonging is really what brings it all together. It's what makes ALD feel like home, like a community, and we want to make sure that every member feels like there's
Okay, so next up, we kind of have a breakdown of DEIB. So as we mentioned, DEIB stands for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. So for some definitions for those, so diversity is the practice of including or involving people from a range of different social and ethnic backgrounds and of different genders. Equity is the quality of being fair and impartial. Inclusion is the practice or policy of providing equal access and opportunities to resources for people who otherwise might be excluded or marginalized. And belonging is the need for a close relationship within a group and a desire to be a part of something that's greater than oneself. We also wanted to highlight the difference between equality and equity. We know, myself knows, that sometimes these can be kind of difficult to distinguish between if you haven't studied them in depth. So equality is when each individual group is given the same resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. On the other hand, equity recognizes that every person has different circumstances and distributes the resources and opportunities needed for everyone to reach an equal outcome.
So for anyone who's more of a visual learner and couldn't really process that definition right away, here is a visual representation of equality versus equity. Equality, they're all given the same resource, that little box that they can stand on. Obviously, the little girl isn't tall enough to see with the box, and the person with the wheelchair can't even use it. Whereas equity, the taller person doesn't need anything to help see over the fence. The little girl might need 2 boxes, and the person with the wheelchair might need a ramp. And it's important to recognize that in order to reach the same outcome, people may need different resources depending on their background.
So why should we learn about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging? So it's key to learn about this because you can understand the world more broadly, and you can also create welcoming environments and incorporate different perspectives. And one thing I wanted to highlight, on a communication aspect, every day that you communicate with someone, no matter who it is, you're using diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in some form because everyone is unique and no two people are exactly the same. So diversity is not defined as one group of people. Everyone coming together from unique backgrounds with unique values and differences is what creates diversity. It is not one group of people alone.
So how do you bring diversity to your chapter? We wanted to highlight that we understand that often when we think of diversity, the first thing our brain goes to is race. But there are so many different ways that you can bring diversity to your chapter. These are just a few: age, race, sexuality, religion, interests, family, hometown, values, ability. These are all ways that you can bring diversity to your chapter. So we have a little activity. I'm sure there will be a link in the chat. You could also just use your phone to scan this code, and it's going to ask you about how you're diverse. And you can select as many answers as you want. And there will be, if I can click at the top of my screen for the results. The results should start popping up here, and we can see as it grows. Oh, I should give you more time to scan this. Sorry, I didn't think about that. I'll give you a couple minutes to scan and then I'll go to the results. Okay. So as you can see, there are so many ways in which just this group is diverse. Every category has people in it. Actually, the highest one is values and interests. Race is, as you can see, not alone in this. It isn't even the main factor of what is making us diverse in this group at this moment. Oops, sorry.
Okay, so one thing we would like everyone to think about, how does your chapter promote diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging? So if you could please type your answers in chat, and this could be anything that you feel your chapter does to promote this. So if you could please share some things in chat. And it could be anything from recruitment to presentations to just discussing. Okay, so I'm seeing some good ones, some that I haven't even thought about, so that's great. I'll give it a few more seconds if anybody else would like to share. Okay, great, great. So everybody can read those in chat if you'd like to look at those, but there's some really good ones in the chat. So here are a few ways that you can increase DEIB knowledge within your chapter. So first and foremost, we have ALD's DEIB webpage. It's a great webpage. There's a lot of resources, such as podcast, the Thursday's theme post, which we kind of saw in the beginning of the presentation. We used a couple of those. And they're also on Instagram under the hashtag ALD Thursday theme. Also the DEIB celebration post, which are also on the Instagram under ALD celebrates DEIB. You can also host different guest speakers who can present at chapter meetings. And another important thing is to make sure your chapter promotes a welcoming environment, such as being open to questions and recognizing and respecting each other's values and beliefs. That's a big one. You always want to respect everyone's values and beliefs. You can also create a DEIB activity for your chapter. And another thing you can do is check out ALD's DEIB calendar and our DEIB presentation that was just put up on the website that I believe Trish put in the chat. And you can celebrate and learn diversity with the rest of ALD through these resources. And there are some great resources. I've looked at them myself.
There's the link at the bottom of the page for DEIB. And just to end off, here is the ALD Diversity Calendar for 2022. This was just posted on the website. I worked to include some of the most celebrated days and months, but obviously we can't include all holidays that celebrate diversity. So we encourage you to use this calendar to help your chapter celebrate, but also do your own research and bring to our attention if there's something on this calendar that your chapter finds a way to celebrate. And thank you so much.
That was terrific. I'm going to see if there are any questions. Good job, you both. Yeah.
I want to take a quick minute to point out that both Bradley and Savannah are very humble. They created basically the diversity webpage and all the resources on it. So since they won't toot their horn, I'll toot it for them. So be sure to check that out because there really are some great resources for your chapter available.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time on it, and you know, it's just right at your fingertips, right on the website, just everything you need. And it was nice to, you know, if you have ideas, it's nice of them to offer. I know they did extensive research, but sure, we don't always catch everything. So if there's something more we could add, it would be great to know. And all as a resource for you as officers for your programming on your campus.